Prophet Dwali.
We live.
We live, yeah. Good morning, everyone. Islam simply means peace. My name is Brother Russell Hill. I'm a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, supporting the temple number 35 under our Prophet Dred Ali. And today we're going to go into some things, and y'all got to get ready. Let's go.
Islam, praise Allah, honor to his prophet. My name is Brother Davis Bay. I'm a member of the Prophet Temple, particularly Houston, Texas, supporting temple number 35.
Islam, I'm Sister Diel, Secretary of the Moorish Science Temple of America, temple number 35.
First thing we're going to address is we're going to let you know that the 14th Amendment, it was a Reconstruction Act. It was done on July the 9th, 1868. But you got to pay attention to the date, 1868. Now, the reason why I'm saying pay attention to the date, because they saying this is one of the most consequential amendments. And it was put into place to show citizenships and rights for those who were enslaved. So they saying this is what this amendment is for. It's for to give you rights and citizenships. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because now they wrote a constitution in 1787, ratified it in 88, put it into play in 1789. This is the Constitution. This is the laws of the land. Now, in this Constitution, it says that all men are created equal and free. So now, if all men are created equal and free, why is there necessary to have a amendment, 70-something years later? Because when they wrote the Constitution of these United States, the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors was in some type of slavery or some type of servitude. And so when they wrote the Constitution, they didn't write you inside the Constitution, they wrote you outside of the Constitution. And the reason why they was able to write you outside of the Constitution, because when they were saying we the people, in order to form a more perfect union and this tranquility, they wasn't considering you people. So when you begin to understand the Constitution, I'm talking about the Bill of Rights, Emancipation Proclamation, civil rights, voting rights. If you already had citizenship, why voting rights? Because they have been voted over here in America since it's been America. They've been voted over here. And so what we're doing is, because a lot of people, you're in an uproar right now. A brother told me this morning they trying to deport his grandmother. So people are in an uproar over here in America because you're upset because the President Donald Trump is he's doing the law. If you're not a citizen over here, then he can deport you. If you're illegal over here, then he can deport you. That's the law. We're gonna go, like I said, we're gonna go into voting rights, civil rights. We're gonna go into the Dred Scott. I'm gonna explain the Emancipation Proclamation to you. I'm gonna explain to you why they did it, and it wasn't worth the paper that it was written on. I'm explaining to you about the amendments and why they did it, and it wasn't worth the paper that it was written on. Because if you are a citizen in this country, then a lot of stuff that they did is unnecessary. But what they try to do for the Negro, blacks, and colors, because you don't understand the law, is appease you.
Okay, what I want to, the question I want to ask you, Grandchief, is that the prophet said that the Constitution was the greatest document ever written. And he said, since it has not been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment. How exactly why the prophet mention this?
If the Constitution applies to you, there is no need or use for the 14th and 15th Amendment. Why? Because the 14th and 15th Amendment, these amendments was created in 1868. The Constitution was created, put in effect in 1789. So just look at the date. We're talking about 1789, and then go to the other date, 1868. Now, if the Constitution applies to me, then it'll start applying to me in what? 1789. And so if the Constitution applies to me in 1789, what's the purpose of you going and doing an amendment of 1868? It makes no sense to me. I'm saying this stuff is, when you are really thinking and not following, when you are really looking at things and not following, if the Constitution is the law of the land and I am a member or a citizen of the law of the land, then what's the purpose of 1868? What's the purpose of 1863? If you saying that all men are created equal and are free, and then you have to go and do some other things to try to make me equal, then that means I wasn't equal when you said it. I wasn't free when you said it. And so that means when you said it, you wasn't saying it to me or for me or about me. You were saying it for those people that was writing and putting this thing into effect. It's who you was talking about.
So I guess our next question is so what was the purpose of the 14th Amendment? What does it do? What does it do for blacks?
There's no purpose. The 14th Amendment serves no purpose. I mean, it's an appeasement. It's something that makes you think that you are given something. Just watch this. If the 14th Amendment made you a citizen, then by you being a citizen, you should have been able to vote. Is that right?
Right.
1868. Voters' Rights Act, 1965. Do the math, brothers and sisters. I'm saying use your head. Now, if I'm a citizen, even if the amendment, let's just say the amendment is good. 1868, 14th Amendment, gave me my rights as a citizen. That's what it says. We had to march, and then they finally gave us the right to vote in 1965. So we're talking about almost 100 years. So that should automatically tell you that something is not right. I call it appeasing the Negro, blacks, and color to make them think that they have something coming. Now, if you have constitutional rights, tell me what you need civil rights for. Why do you need civil rights if you have constitutional rights? Y'all, in 1857, there was a brother named Dred Scott who sued for his freedom because his master took him from a slave state to a free state. And he went all through the court system suing for his freedom, because he's saying that if you took me from a slave state to a free state, then I should automatically have my citizenship. I should automatically be free. Say that citizenship is a tricky thing. So Dred Scott ended up going to the Supreme Court, and in 1857, Roger B. Taney said, this is a Supreme Court justice, said that the Negro has no rights, 1857, that the white man is bound to respect. Supreme Court justice said that. Why? Because the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, even at that time, were considered property. And like the brother said, since the Constitution has never changed, then you are still considered property. I don't care how they prop it up. I don't care what you say. I don't care how you want to debate. The law is plain. They come up with the Emancipation Proclamation talking about, well, we're going to emancipate you and set you free. Emancipation means to what? I'm going to set you free. Proclamation means to what? You're going to proclaim. Proclaim what in 1863? See, when you start paying attention to the dates, and if the dates alone don't wake you up, then you're probably going to be asleep for the next 100 years, brothers and sisters. Yeah, because this stuff is plain to me, and it should be plain to you. Why? Because what you allowing for it to do, you allowing for your Congress to lead you. you're allowing for your courts and your government officials to lead to you. I've been listening to governors and attorney general. I'm like, man, these brothers got masters and bachelor's degrees. And the Prophet Noble Drew Ali says that in our Moorish literature about how these people, they go to school and they jump through these hoops. And then when you question them jumping through the hoops, they defend their jumping. It's a mess, I tell you.
So is there a difference between the United States and the United States of America?
Oh, absolutely, there's a difference. One created the other. Man, one created the other. When they say we the people, it's what you have to remember. The people are those who created. So when we say we the people, so me and you people, we all get together and we say, hey, we're gonna create the state of Texas. And then, in creating the state of Texas, what was it first? It was Texas. And so once it's Texas and we create the state of Texas, we create a fictitious entity doing business as. If you have ever been incarcerated, it never says Texas versus you. It says the state of Texas versus you. Why? Because Texas itself does not verse you. And so what they do is they create these fictitious entities. It's just like an LLC, Moors. It's just like an LLC. If I go out and create an LLC, then if something transpires, then the LLC is responsible for it, not Russell Williams. So you sue the LLC, I'm safe. It's the same thing applies when it comes to the state of Texas versus Texas, Indiana state versus Indiana. The same thing applies. Why? It applies because me and you, and they tell us this here, you have to give honors to the law. And so therefore, by giving honors to the law, you have to give honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because this is how we come to understand the law, by following these instructions that the Prophet put into play. He's explaining to me about this 14th Amendment, this myth, this Emancipation Proclamation that y'all call the President Abraham Lincoln the Great Emancipator. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why you call him the Great Emancipator when you haven't been emancipated. So if I'm the Great Emancipator, that means that what? You are free. If you're not free, you haven't been emancipated. So Abraham Lincoln, he ain't did nothing great, not for me and you.
So would that be considered like a type of mental slavery? It seems like wordplay that the politics that they have, because the Constitution of the United States of America says we the people, and then the amendment says all persons.
Oh, there's absolutely a difference. That's why, again, you have to get honest to the Prophet, because it's all wording.
Right.
People, persons, you know, and you automatically think when they talk about people, they talking about you. You automatically think when they say persons, we talking about you. See, because we looking at it from a layman's perspective. We're not looking at it from a legal perspective. Remember, the United States created the USA. And if you go and the Dred Scott decision is just one. I mean, I know that y'all probably heard what the brother name? Rodney King. I mean, I love the Rodney King story, because the Rodney King story explains a whole lot of things to you when it comes to legal and legality. You know, Rodney King is his brother inside of California. They pulled his brother out of his car. The helicopter is flying over. They are beating his brother. This brother is not fighting. He's not resisting. He's on the ground. He's taking this whooping. When they finally get through whipping the brother, takes him to jail, and I think they charge him with assault of a police officer. Mind you now, in order for me to assault somebody, that means I have to physically do something to them. Now, this brother, after they dismissed his little charges, which was fictitious in the beginning, but this is how the system works. So he went and he sued them in state court. Now remember that you think your state is supposed to protect you. He went to the state court and sued them. They found all them officers not guilty. Them brothers and sisters in Los Angeles wasn't going for it. They tore Los Angeles up. The federal government steps in and says, y'all violated his civil rights. What happened to his constitutional rights? They steps in and says y'all violated his civil rights. So I'm like, civil rights? Oh, that's what Martin Luther King marched for. Civil rights. See, nobody was marching for constitutional rights. Why? Because you can't get constitutional rights unless you are a first-class citizen in this country, right? If you're not a first-class citizen, yeah, they have classes of citizenship. Don't let them rock you to sleep and tell you they don't have classes of citizenship. If you're not a first-class citizen, then the Constitution don't apply to you. See, you think that because you become a citizen over here, that the Constitution automatically applies to you. What they do is they make you a 14th Amendment citizen, or they make you a civil rights citizen. And they get away with that because you so happy to say that I'm a citizen. Till you go to sleep on everything else. Prophet Obadiah don't teach us that. He teaches me that I am a first-class citizen, and the Constitution of 1789 applies to me 100%. The Bill of Rights applies to me. You can't give me rights and take rights away from me. Yeah, they do you like that. They say if you commit a crime, you can't tote a gun anymore. It don't say that in the Bill of Rights. It say every citizen has the right to bear arms. They create a law and say felon in possession of a firearm. The federal government created that law. So when you don't get it, you just don't get it. I mean, and it's a lot of people, oh, you're in an uproar. President Trump can't do that. Yes, he can. You think the President of the United States don't have 100 lawyers at his beck and call? You think that these lawyers are not telling him what he can and can't do? Y'all may be, the man won the presidency. So he can't be that stupid. You know, he won the presidency. So, I mean, I ain't never, I have seen some people in there that wasn't that bright. But the man won the president of the United States. This man is doing according to the law. He's deporting people that shouldn't be here. You crossed him illegally. He's putting tariffs on people. Hey, Canada, y'all letting people cross into our country. Hey, Mexico, y'all letting people cross into our country. You heard what the Mexican president said. We should have been doing a better job on this side. Why? Because that brother ain't playing.
So what I'm going to ask you is about this 14th Amendment clause. And they said, key provision of the 14th Amendment. It says citizenship clause, grant birthright citizenship, meaning anyone born and naturalized in the U.S. is a citizen regardless of race or previous status.
I mean, if the 14th Amendment says it, then since the 14th Amendment is no good, then that's no good. You've been born over here. Let me give you an example. I sneak into this country. Me and my wife. We sneaks into the United States of America. We have no children when we get here. I am illegal. I have 5 children. They deport me and all 5 of the children. You in an uproar because of that. That's not illegal. Why? Because by me being illegal and my wife being illegal, that make my children illegal. So when we say born here, we talking about people that were born here, that was born here. Let me explain that to you. I didn't sneak into the country. My parents and my grandparents and my great-grandparents were born here. They are not immigrants. So when they have me, I'm born here. That gives me some type of citizenship. Be careful with the citizenship, and make sure you be careful with the type of citizenship they try to bestow upon you. Or better yet, that you allow to be stored upon you because of your ignorance of the law, because you don't believe that a nationality is needed. If it wasn't needed, why did that president come up with the Emancipation Proclamation? You know, I be wanting to say something else sometime, you know. Why he come up with the Emancipation Proclamation? Emancipation means to set free. Proclamation means to proclaim. What would you be proclaiming, black man? What would you be proclaiming, Negro? What would you be proclaiming, African American? What would you be proclaiming, Afro American? What would you be complaining of, colored man? What would you be proclaiming?
So is that why Obama put forth the Bill of Indigenous Rights to make the so-called Negro, Black, and Colored look into where they come from, who they are, what is indigenous?
I voted for Obama. He ain't did nothing for you. Indigenous? What is indigenous? Native American? What is a Native American? Indian? What is an Indian? You hear people talking about I'm a Cherokee, I come from, man, please. A Cherokee? You ever did the history of a Cherokee? It's the same history as a Negro, Black, and a colored. Ain't no indigenous to this. What they do is they use words against you, and you be like, well, I'm indigenous. I even hear Sister Fowlina be talking about, you know, her Indian roots. Choctaw. Ain't no such thing as no Choctaw nation. Not in this nation. The United States of America is a nation all to itself. And there's no other nations over here. There's no other governments over here. There's only one other nation that's a part of this nation, and that's the Moorish Science Temple of America. Legally. There's no other nation over there. The Choctaws, you got to go to Choctaw land. You get caught up on this, because you want to be a part of something. You want to be a part of something so bad, because they gave you a piece of property and let you put a casino on it.
So, graduate, let me ask you this. I want to talk about this civil rights thing, because this civil rights thing is, when you see brothers and sisters get jammed up on these TikToks and all these things, the first thing when the police grab them, they say, you violated my civil rights.
Well, you may have civil rights. Some of you brothers and sisters, y'all have civil rights. But there's no violation of your civil rights, because civil rights is a granted privilege. Now, when it comes to violating your constitutional right, everybody knows that the Voting Rights Act, civil rights, it's fake. It ain't real. It's just something put in play because some people was doing some stuff, and since y'all didn't know, and you know what really kills me? Noble Drew came up here in 1913. These brothers and sisters are so idiotic. He came over here in 1913 with nationality. He came over here in 1913 stressing you're not Negro, Blacks, and Colors. You are today without a doubt or a contradiction what your forefathers were. Right. There's no one who's able to change man from his divine. No one who's able to change man. And yet, we are still marching, talking about civil rights, and we want to vote. He came in 13. The Voting Rights Act is in 1965. We talking about 52 years. You still fighting for something when somebody came and handed you all of everything on a silver platter. But what we want to do as Negro, Blacks, and Colors, you want to be the greatest one among us. I believe that the greatest one that was ever among us was the Sister Harriet Tubman. Everybody else, they was all right. Malcolm, that's my man. He knew better. Martin, that's my man. He knew better because these weren't no dummies. These are some highly intelligent brothers. They knew better. But they didn't do better. Why? Because it wasn't about me and you. It was about them and what they was trying to accomplish. It wasn't about the legacy of the so-called Negro, Blacks, and the Colors in America. It's about their legacy. See, the prophet is creating a legacy like no other legacy. Learn to love instead of hate. The prophet is trying to unite humanity. Not just Negro, black, and colored. He's trying to, this savior, this love thing. This is what he's promoting. Why? Because you'll be amazed at how much hate is in America, or it's everywhere. And it ain't just Europeans hating.
So is this why they can't send African Americans back to Africa, because the prophet said that we are the true possessors, according to chapter 47 in the Morris Temple of America Holy Quran.
I mean, if they sent you back to Africa, where you going? I mean, y'all gotta, where you wanna go? Citizenship don't work like that. Now, if you got a bunch of money, you might can get in. But other countries won't allow you to be a citizen of their country. It's one of the only countries that allows that. This is why when they say the home of the free, it's the greatest country on the planet, Mo. It ain't no other country like this. Go to China and see. Go to Iran and Iraq and see. Now, they got places that good, I hear people talking about Dubai. It's a good place to visit.
Yeah.
It's not a good place to live.
Right.
Yeah. So when you really don't understand, oh, and man, I went on vacation to Dubai, and it was this, that, and the other one. Why you didn't stay? Because it ain't this, that, and the other.
So, Grandson, let me ask you this. Since this Morris Temple of America is the way of the Negro, or the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors, why isn't everybody that's been called Negro, black, color, why ain't they jumping through hoops to try to get through this door of this Morris Temple of America? This gives them the ability to be a real first-class citizen in this nation.
Because we don't want it. We don't, Moors, we don't want nothing. The American dream to me and you is being born, working ourselves to death, and going to heaven. That's the American dream for Negro, blacks, and colors. How is it that everybody makes progress in this country except those that were here first? That's right, we was here before the Europeans ever set foot on this United States, what they call the United States. This said government, because the prophet said this said government, meaning that this is the government that they say it is. There's another government behind this government, and it's a Moorish government. You know, but the prophet also tells us that you got to be recognized by the government in which you live and the nation of the earth. And we're not being recognized by that because me and you won't unify. I mean, even Moors and Moorish Americans, you won't unify. Right. Why? Because the master, you know, me and you are fearful of the master. Naeem Akbar says that man is the master, the maker, and the creator of his own. And we sit here and we say that God exists, and yet he don't. You know, Russell Bay, this brother Russell Bay, he say something that just sticks with me, and it's been sticking with me. He's been saying it for the last month and a half. He's been talking about every time something bad happens, we say, oh God, why me? And the brother said, well, why didn't you say the devil? Why every time something bad happens, it's God? And you say the devil exists. So when something bad happens, I'm saying it's the devil. That's what I say now. The brother woke me up.
That's right. That's right.
When something bad happens, I'm like, oh devil, oh devil, oh devil. Why? Because me and you have been misled. And me and you like being misleading. The prophet says man need a pattern for their lives. They love to follow, not to lead. So that tells me that all of us are followers. Me, you, all of us are followers. What example or what pattern are we following? Mm-hmm. Are we following the pattern that they set it for us, the civil rights, the voting rights, the amendments? Or are we following the Constitution of these United States? The prophet did say that the Constitution of the United States was the greatest document ever written. You know what? He's telling the truth. Why? Because when you understand the Constitution, you understand your place in the affairs of men. when you don't understand the Constitution, you have no place in the affairs of men. You know, that's why they're able to do the things they're able to do to you in America. Why? Because you're not a true American citizen. You're a ward of the government. You know what a ward of the government means? It means that you belong to us. And when somebody whoops my child without my permission, then I step in. Most times they give them the permission, they give the states the permission to whoop you until there's an uproar. Y'all forgot how these people came here.
Also, Gresham, I want to go back. Because you mentioned something about the Dred Scott and Roger B. Taney in 1857, and you said he came from a slave state to a free state. I mean, so why wasn't he? How were they had slave states that was free, and then they had slave states that was not free? Or how does that work? What was the?
A slave state is a state where slavery is legal. And if you are caught, I'm in a free state, and I'm traveling, and I mess around and go into a slave state. And by me being a Negro, black, and colored with these free papers, it's a good chance that they're going to enslave me. Now, what Dred Scott did was, Dred Scott was a slave. His master, him and his master is traveling together. And they leave out of the slave state, and he takes his property with him out of the slave state into a free state. And Dred Scott sees all these other Negro, blacks, and colors driving buggies and, you know, going in stores and dressed nice. And Dred Scott probably wants some of this. And probably one of them old free uppity Negroes, like we got some of them today in 2025. Some of them free uppity Negroes told the man, man, why you following master like that? Why you following that master like that? Y'all know what I'm really trying to say. And Dred Scott gets it in his head that he's in a free state. He should be free. And he fought for his freedom. And he lost. Because you're a property. Just because you go from a slave state to a free state, it does not free you. And just because you think you're free here in America in 2025, the civil rights thing still applies to you. The 14th and 15th Amendment, it still applies to you. And since those amendments still apply to you, you're not free. This is why they can come in and deport you and get you out of here. You got brothers and sisters in the uproar talking about they gonna deport us. I'm like, how? Where they gonna send you?
Who gonna take you?
So
Where would they send you, brothers and sisters? And I think somebody's mom said that, you know, well, we better go and find us somewhere to go before they take us somewhere we don't want to be.
Oh my.
The United States of America, America in itself, this is my property. This is my land. There's no law that can expel me. You can say what you want to say. I mean, I ain't running. I got a profit. This property over here was given to us. The pharaohs of Egypt gave us permission to inhabit and settle this very land that me and you own. And then the Europeans came. Man, you have way more rights to this land than you're ever gonna know. But until you get behind the prophet Noble Drew and come into the more scientific America, you're gonna continue to be a black man. You know, black people fight to be black. Don't you know? I have arguments with people when I say I'm Moorish. Oh man, you black. My own people. I've never had a European or Mexican or an Arab or Indian or Pakistani call me anything but what I told them that I was. You know why? Black people hate. They hate. It's all around me and you. They did a magnificent job with the so-called Negro, blacks, and colored African Americans over here in the United States. They made you hate you so much till you hate me.
So would that still be a part of that mental slavery?
Oh, a part of it. Mental slavery is alive and well in these United States. It ain't just alive and well with Negro, blacks, and colored. It's alive and well with brothers and sisters that wear fez and turbans and say that they are Moorish Americans. That brothers and sisters that say they Moor. This hateful thing is real. That's why the prophet says, he said you need to learn to love instead of hate. Just like love is a behavior, hate is too. Hate is a behavior. You wake up. I mean, you have brothers and sisters, you go to bed mad, and you wake up mad. And the brother say, good morning, and you say, what's so good about it? I stay away from those type of people. Because anytime that God gives me the ability to get up in the morning, it's a great day already. Why? Let the blessings begin. Now, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. That's some black stuff. I mean, the bed that I sleep in, I get in on the, I guess that's the right-hand side. And I get out on the wrong right-hand side. So if the only way I can get out of the bed on the wrong side is to climb over somebody. Well, that's a big hump. Not gonna do it. Right. It's just certain things of what the prophet teaches us is this mindset of the Mo always said, a state of his, it's your first duty. A state of your mind is your first duty. And the only way that you're gonna change the way that you think is to change the way that you think. The only way that you're gonna change your life, you're gonna have to change the way that you think. The only way that you're gonna have to change the world, you're gonna have to change the way that you think. Because when you're consistent, those around you will be consistent. Oh yeah, you got haters everywhere. They all over. I mean, they got a hate on every corner. Yeah. Everywhere you turn, there's a hater. There's somebody who don't dislike you. They don't. Martin Luther King was marching for their rights. They didn't like him. Malcolm was picking up the people. They didn't like him. Who don't like somebody who's going to take you into their home, clean you up, feed you, and get you ready, prepare you mentally to have success? Black people. That's who. We are the only people on this planet that don't stick together over here in the United States. We got some of the smartest minds on the planet right here in these United States. And you hate me just because. And if I ask you why, you say just because. I'm like, well, can you give me a reason? You say, just because. I don't understand that. I don't understand how can you dislike something or somebody and you say that you love God and you hate me. You must be worshiping a hateful God. Because the great God, the great universal creator, ain't no hating him.
So let's bring it back to Trump and the uproar that the people are in right now. Because like we were talking about the wording of the people are hearing with their ears, he's taking away benefits. When in actuality, he says, I'm putting a freeze. What is your take on that? Because I have an idea, but what you think about that? Are the people rightfully upset or are they mistakenly upset?
Be patient. You gotta be patient. You gotta be patient with the brother Donald Trump. I mean, you take it as he's taking something. I take it as what this guy is saying is that with all these illegal people over here, and I'm telling you, I went to the driver's license place, I think maybe a couple of months ago. And when I went to this driver's license place, it was me and two other brothers in there. And everybody else was Spanish speakers. I mean, I don't know where they were from, Mexico, Honduras, but everybody was Spanish speakers. Every time I go into a store or anywhere I go into, 90% of the people that's in these places that I go to are immigrants. And Trump is saying, and you can come and talk to me, Mr. Trump, if I get this wrong. What Trump is saying is that I am suspending these benefits. Because we created these benefits for our American citizens. And everybody that comes over here and goes into them offices are getting these benefits. So now I want to give these benefits to Sister Youngbae, but I can't give them to Sister Youngbae because we're out of money, because I gave them to the people that came over here illegally. So I've given it all away. So what Trump is saying, y'all think that he's saying, when he say "I'm make America great again," you think it's racist. Racist? I mean, because the country that me and you live in, we have a president that said he want to make our country great again. He's saying, I want to bring the jobs back to my country. I want my people to start having success in my country. That's racist. Like, that ain't racist. I mean, I'm like, that's the reality. I mean, you move all of your jobs to China and to Mexico. Y'all know that we get a lot of stuff, a lot of our stuff comes from China and Mexico. Most of the cars that you see 60% of the cars that you see on the street in America is not American cars. Yeah, these are Japanese or the European cars. America don't make Audi and BMWs and Mercedes. They don't make Mitsubishis and Hondas. They don't make none of the cars. Half the cars out here is not American. You know what I drive? I drive American cars. Yeah, I'm driving a Ford or a Chevrolet. Now, why? Because I'm an American. Now, if you decide you want to give me a Rolls Royce from Great Britain, I'm taking that Rolls Royce. But I'm not going to spend my money on nothing but an American car. Why? Because when I spend my money on a car from my country, that means that my money stays in my country. When I buy a Bentley, that means that Bentley goes back to the country that it comes from. What Mr. Trump is saying is that it's time out for all that. Y'all will either do it the American way or no way at all. And guess what they doing, brothers and sisters? They're lining up. Oh yeah, Canada was fussing. Well, we're going to take all the American liquor off the shelf. So what? Now y'all can't get drunk no more. Mexico was talking that talk. You know, Mexico's president said, when, you know, we could have did it. Yeah, you could have did a better job. Yeah, you could have did a better job. Why? Because when you don't do your job, then you forced us to look like bullies. Yeah. You force us to look like bad guys, because we saying that, hey man, brothers, if you get caught over here, if you commit a crime in America, you're going to jail. Crossing the borders illegally, it's a crime. All of a sudden, we became the asylum-seeking country. We seeking asylum. What I mean, you walk all the way from the bottom of South America is with no country that you could have stopped in and seeked asylum. You can come to America, brothers and sisters. I mean, America is that type of country. You can come here, but you got to get on a plane. You got to come here legally. You got to come here legally, brothers and sisters. And that's all that brother saying, that if you are illegal, goodbye. And people be upset with me because I'm like, well, I mean, I got to follow the law of the land. If you are illegal, if you entered this country illegally, go home. And then you don't, and as a people, me and you, as so-called Negro, Black, and colors, me and you pick up everybody's fight. We pick up everybody's fight. You notice nobody picks up me and your fight. Nobody's telling me and you not Negro, Blacks, and colors. Nobody's not putting me and you in a position so that the Constitution applies to you and me and you, so that me and you can understand what citizenship is. You know that nobody's never told me and you that? You know nobody's mentioned Noble Drew Lee and nationality? You notice nobody has said any of these things to us? Obama? Yeah. I mean, I'm saying Obama because he looked like me. Yeah. But he did his job. His job is to... Why would Obama tell you you Moorish American when the prophet said it? Yeah. Why does somebody else have to tell you that you're not Negro, Blacks, and colored when your prophet said it? Yeah. You want to get rid of voting rights? Proclaim your nationality. You want to quit worrying about them saying they violate your civil rights, and you ain't violated my civil rights. You violate my constitutional rights. You can't tell me that I can't bear arms. I put one on every day. Yeah. I'm a first-class citizen of these United States, and the Bill of Rights applies to me. It's not a granted privilege. You can't. If it's a granted privilege, that means that you got to put it in on Monday and take it out on Tuesday, and then you put it back on Wednesday and you take it out on Thursday. Correct? It's temporary. The Bill of Rights is not temporary. It's not a right that you can take away from me because I've been convicted of a crime. So you're saying because I've been convicted of a crime, I can no longer protect myself? No, that ain't how the law works, brothers and sisters. That's why I give honors to the Prophet Noble Dred Scott, because what? Without the Prophet Noble Dred Scott, I wouldn't even understand the Constitution. I'd be still walking around here talking about black power.
Right. So for dummies like me, what you saying that Trump is doing is, what he's saying that he's doing is basically like, I live in America and I have this house and I'm so proud of my house and I love my house. And then you come over and just walk in my house and you just sit there and say, I'm here, I'm seeking asylum, I need to stay here. You saying I can't put them out. Trump is telling me, no, I'm putting you out. You cannot come into my house and sit here without my permission. So that's what you're saying. For dummies like me who don't get all those constitutional words.
There's
That's
so
a
many,
good thing.
sister, there's so many illegals over here. They say 7 out of 10 are illegal.
Mhm.
That's a lot. So they saying that we got over 330-something million people in America. They saying over 1 million of those people are illegal. Excuse me, over 100 million of those people are illegal. The reason why you are having such a hard time is because people are coming over here illegally. You know, you mad at Dred Scott. I ain't mad at him. I voted for him. I don't know about you all, but as a first-class citizen, I need to be protected. Greg Abbott is protecting me. Yeah. I don't like his policies, but I almost absolutely love his protection. Yes. Because whether you believe it or not, brothers and sisters, if it don't be for these Republicans, there will be no protection for you. This is what they do to me and you. Democrats, Republicans, independents. They making you choose a side. Yeah.
So, Greg,
And if I'm a Republican and you're a Democrat, me and you chose a side. So everything that I say, you automatically gonna dispute it. Why? Because you're a Republican, and I'm a Democrat. I'm an American.
Mm.
Whatever is best for America, I don't care what those people say. You know, vote a Democratic ticket. Not me. Because the Democrats are the reason, one of the biggest reasons that me and you in the position that we're in. They are bleeding heart liberals.
So, Greg, just to flip it a little bit, like some like devil's advocate. The prophet said, according to all true divine record of the human race, there are no Negro, black, colored race attached to the human family. So, is that? Could the so-called black Negro, blacks, and colors, could they also be could be illegals?
No.
I mean, because they don't detach them to the human family. So what would the so-called Negro, black, and colored be? How do that makes them part of this United States to get any rights? Because the prophet tells us that. What's that? Let me be clear. Let me go to it for a second. If you can bear with me. He said, more than the national and divine, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all nations of the world through it, their children can receive their divine rights unmolested and all other citizens can cast a free national ballot. So can they cast a vote?
Yeah, everybody can vote over here. I mean, if you're a citizen and you register to vote and they send you a voting card, you can vote. Yeah. But voting ain't the issue. I mean, the issue is your rights. Because if these people saying, in God you trust, in God we trust, in God we trust. This is what they say. It says on your money, you go in the courtroom, you go anywhere they go, it's saying, God we trust. And they saying that you have God-given, unalienable rights. Not talking about Negro, blacks, and colors. I've heard a European say that Negro, blacks, and colors don't have a soul. In other words, they're saying that you are doomed, and you believe that.
Yeah.
We'll go to the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And then he said, God created this. God said, God said, God said, God said. Then when you still in chapter 1 of Genesis, he said he created he them, male and female. Created he them. And he said, go forth and replenish. Talking in chapter 1. Go into chapter 2, Genesis. And he blew into his nostrils, and man became a living soul. When if he breathed into his nostrils, and man became a living soul in chapter 1 when he said, created he them, male and female, go forth and replenish the earth. Who is down here breathing in the nostrils when God has already did everything? This is how they get you. King James Version. They laid Adam on the table. Now, we saying this God just created male and female. He created he them. Now they saying that he laid them on the table, cut him open, removed the rib, and created woman. Man, and that ain't the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. And then Eve comes along with Adam. Eve convinces Adam to eat from the forbidden tree. And Adam, being as weak as he is, had to be an Asiatic. He ate from the tree, and they say Adam discovered that he was naked. Oh, y'all know that Adam was, if he discovered he was naked, he was already naked. So how do you discover that you're naked when you've been walking around the garden naked all your life? So they cast him out. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to see. If there's only 2 people in the world, and they have to go forth and replenish the earth, there's not 2 people on the planet that can create you. The Chinese can't make you. The Japanese can't make you. The Arabs, the Mexicans can't. Nobody make you. Where you come from. Nobody can make you Moors.
Good stuff, Grand Sheik.
Nobody can make you Asiatic. So since nobody can make you, how did you get here?
I make them all.
So that tells me that the 2 people that was created in chapter 1 was you. Why? Because you can make everybody. It's been proven. You can make everybody. Nobody can make you. Since you can make everybody and nobody can make you, then who is the cream of the crop? See, when you up here, people want you down here.
That's right.
But you get comfortable down here and refuse to go back up there. Why? Because it's the comfort. The prophet teaches us about a higher self, a lower self, this carnal self, this body of desire. See, man, you caught up in this carnal self. We are straying after gods whom we do. He said straying after gods, not one. But every time somebody create a god, you gone. Baptist. Methodists, Lutherans, First Church of Corinthians. If God exists, then why so many churches? If God is all of what me and you say, why so much hungry and homeless? If God is as great, and I'm not saying he's not, I'm saying Allah is the greatest. I'm saying that the people that he that create the things that's supposed to be created for the people, is not for the people. It's not about the people. It's never been about the people. When they say we the people, it's never been about the people. It's always been about we who say the people. That's what it's always been about. And it's always been about it because in order for you to be the people that they're talking about, this Constitution of these United States have to apply to you. Then that's when we become the people. And the prophet brought that to the so-called Negro, blacks, and colors because we have never been the people. We have always been the slaves. We have always been the property. You don't want to hear that. Why? Because it's true. When I'm free, I can go where I want to go. I can go where I want to go too. That don't give me freedom. That don't give me citizenship. None of that stuff gives me any of that. So what, I can get in my car and drive all over these United States. So what, I got a passport and I can get on the airplane and go wherever I want to go. That don't make me free. Yeah. So when they say, you know, we are created equal, we are created equal. I ain't no better than nobody else walking on this planet Earth. But ain't nobody no better than me. There's nobody walking this earth better than me. I ain't better than them. What? Because we created what? Equal. Since we are created equal, there's no better. I may know a little bit more about moral science than some people. And I know a little bit less about moral science than a lot of people. But I know that one thing that's a true fact, Allah is God, Noble Drew Ali is holding divine prophet. Right. And without the prophet Noble Drew Ali, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And without the prophet Noble Drew Ali, y'all wouldn't understand what the 14th Amendment was really all about. You wouldn't understand the dates. If stuff applies to you, brothers and sisters, when they wrote the Constitution, it would have applied to you in 1789. When they started writing it in 1787, when they ratified it, because they had a chance to put you in it.
That's right.
See, they wrote it in 1787, and they ratified it in 1789, 1788, and when they ratified it, they had an opportunity to say, we forgot the Moors. We forgot the Asiatics. We forgot about the ones that we enslaved. But they didn't. Why? They never intended. They never intended for the Moors to come back. They never intended for you to wake up. Prophet Noble Drew Ali says it's going to be 100 years before y'all realize what I bought you. And if you're not careful, in 50 years, you won't even know I've been there. Noble Drew Ali, I vow on my life, we won't forget. Yeah. We'll never forget you. Why? Because if it don't be for Noble Drew Ali, me and you will still be fighting for civil rights. Every 25 years, they are going in. Let's see if we're going to let them vote again. I thought you was a citizen. Wake up.
So is it safe to say that the Moors of America, that they are getting behind Trump, or they support Trump, or how do you feel about that?
Trump is the president of the United States. He's our president. Why would you be behind anybody else? Putin ain't your president. Yeah. The Prime Minister of Canada, he ain't our president. The president of Mexico, that ain't our president. Our president's name is Donald Trump. Why would you not like your president? Because he's different. I'm different. What they teach you in America, brothers and sisters, is that if somebody says something that you dislike, then you have to dislike the person that said it. There's people say stuff that I dislike all the time.
That's right.
I don't dislike the person that said it. I don't dislike you. It's just something you said. Hey, we can have a talk about what you said. And 9 times out of 10, I can convince you to change your stance. Man, you don't make hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars and you stupid. Yeah. You know why he hired businessmen? The United States of America, the LLC, is a business.
That's right.
It's a corporation. And I need to get some people in here that know how to run corporations. Hey man, the United States government, you got over 400,000 workers. And you only need 100. Y'all take this servant's pack and get on. You know how to balance the budget? Quit spending money that's unnecessary. Yeah. Don't take all these people. These are not essential workers. Policemen, firemen, hospitals and doctors and nurses, and those people that feed people. Those are essential workers. An auto parts store is not an essential worker. No. We just believe what other people say, and by us believing what other people say, we get stuck. We get stuck. I ain't stuck. Well, I got a prophet. I'm following him to a destination that's not unsure or unknown. Why? Because I'm no longer a Negro black color. I no longer think like a Negro black color. I understand the law. It's plain to me. I have nothing against the President Trump. He ain't did nothing to me. I can't say that he did anything for me. He's never did anything against me. I mean, even when he's speaking rhetoric, I mean, what does it mean? I mean, he can't give his opinion, but you say we live in a country of freedom of speech? Why he can't give his opinion?
That's right. That's right.
Fake news.
Yeah.
I guess he's creating his own fake news. We gotta be thinking people, and if we're not thinking people, we're gonna continue to give credit to people who haven't not did anything for us. Roger B. Tanner has never did anything for us. The brother that did the Emancipation Proclamation, he didn't do anything for us. Those that helped pass the Civil Rights Bill, some of the Kennedys, and I think Lyndon B. Johnson, they ain't did nothing for me and you. If they want to do something for me and you, they would have say, refer yourself to the prophet.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Refer yourself to the prophet. Y'all had a prophet come here that teach you your nationality. And then you crying about what a prophet is. A prophet is someone who brings a message. Who needed a message worse than me and you? Who needed Savior worse than me and you? And since you already love Jesus, guess who he brought you? Jesus. But he brought you the historical Jesus, not the mystical Jesus. In the Bible, I think it's in 2 chapters in the Bible. I'm gonna say 2 names, and I think it's John and maybe Luke or Matthew, where it describes Jesus. It says he had skin like burnished bears and hair like wool. Man, that sounds like you. But then you'll hang a European Jesus on your wall. You'll go and you'll look at Moses when they make the picture about Moses, the show. It ain't Asiatic in the thing. Y'all notice they wasn't in Europe, right? How you're not in Europe and there are no Asiatics? We ain't in Europe. Now, if you made it in Europe, okay, well, I can say, hey. But if you ain't made it in Europe and you make it in an Asiatic country, you mean to tell me this whole Asiatic country, Jerusalem, Palestine?
Good stuff. Good stuff.
The prophet says when they gave you a name that's inferior to the name that they gave themselves. They call you black, deaf, evil, no good, rotten, can't get itself up. What does DMX say? You're slipping, you're falling, and you can't get up. Then they gave themselves white, purity. Prophet say white means purity. Purity means God, and God means the ruler of the land. And that's what he says. He said white means purity. Purity means God, and God's means ruler of the land. Noble Drew say, man is the Lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. See what Noble Drew brought to me and you? It's greatness. But you slipping and you falling and you won't get up. You won't get up. Why? Because you still believe that you getting up gonna upset the way things are. As me getting up mean upset me, upset it's gonna be.
That's right. That's right.
So it seems like our president, Donald Trump, is leading without his passions. Is leading, he's not making these emotional decisions and making these decisions off emotions. And it seems like the people that are in an uproar, they're so emotional. Like we were saying, our people have all this compassion for other countries and other nations and other this and that. But over here we have people that's hungry. They're not sending money here to make sure that we don't have homeless on the street. So when I say that, I support what Trump is doing. And I just want to make sure that the people on this Amexem platform understands that what Trump is doing, he's doing it for the American people. Not the European people, not the black people, not the Chinese people, but the true American people. Would you say?
Trump is a billionaire. What does being a president do for a billionaire? I mean, what does it do for me? I mean, it's going to give me some more connection. I got more money than I can ever spend. What does becoming the president do for somebody that has everything? Why didn't Biden do it? Why didn't Obama do it? Why didn't Bush do it? Why didn't Clinton do it? Why didn't Bush do it before him? Why didn't Reagan do it? Why didn't Nixon do it? If this was a problem then, it's a problem now. Why didn't none of them do this? It took somebody with some real courage, and I don't care what you think.
Right. That's right. Yes, sir.
This is what I'm doing. You notice that everything that he said he was doing on his first day in office, did y'all see him on the first day? He had 100 executive orders already drawn up. They didn't draw them up on the 20th. He ran off of this stuff. Y'all know that he got the popular vote? First time he ran, he didn't get both of them. Clinton got the popular, he got the... So we gotta be doing this, we gotta be paying attention to what's going on, not get out your passions.
Right.
You gotta get out of your passions and look at what's being done. And you gotta ask yourself, why is it being done? Don't assume you know. Find out. Don't assume you already know. When the guy's racist, I mean, you probably racist too. Yeah. The guy prejudiced, you probably prejudiced too. Allow for it to see how, he ain't got no 4 years. I take that back. He got 3 years and some change. Let him do his job. Let him make it better for the next president of these United States. Let him ease this burden. Because he's doing everything from a business perspective. While you saying we shall overcome, Trump saying we gonna overcome. All those people who has been bleeding us, no more. No more. Get a man 2.5 years and see what he do. You ain't even gotta worry about voting for him no more. He out of there. Let him do his job. I mean, I'm saying that we can't be off any worse. Y'all know that egg was already expensive before he took office.
Right.
You can't blame that on him. You know that food was steady going up before he took office? You can't blame that on him. You know, they say that Biden did this, and this. He didn't keep them prices down. He kept the gas price down. But it ain't summertime yet.
Right. Right.
Yeah. You have to give everybody the opportunity to do what they supposed to do. When you are doing something, don't you want me to give you the chance to do it? You don't want me to automatically say, well, man, you ain't. Let me do it. Let him do what he say he's going to do. If he say he's going to do it, hold your president accountable. Hold him accountable. If he say he's going to do it, he let them 1,500 people go. Yeah. Yeah. On the 20th, they had 4 planes flying out of these United States with them illegals on it. Columbia told them, we're not accepting them. He said, it's okay. Tell them. And we're going to expel your people. Land that plane, Trump. Yeah. Prime Minister of Canada and Mexico was talking that talk. Trump said, okay. Y'all want to play? Now they said, land that plane, Trump. Why? Because they thought that it was politics. It's not politics, it's business.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And by it being business, the people's complaint was there are no jobs in America. There was that complaint, there are no jobs, and all these illegals are getting these jobs, right? That was the complaint of the people his first term. So now this term, he's getting rid of the illegals, and he's opening up jobs. That makes America great again, yes?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, because once he do what he do, then you can take the wages up. You can afford to take the wages up because what? Now you got your people working for the wages. Now that your wages are going back into the economy. Most people that come over here illegal, they send the money back to their country. Now,
Okay.
you know them brothers I tell you about, them 7 brothers, the Indian brothers I tell y'all about all the time? All of their businesses in our community. None of them live in our community. They put the business in the community, they take the money and put it in their pockets, and they take it to their community, and they send it to their people. Yeah. That dollar that you had, you never see that dollar. Why? Because other people are smart enough to spend with themselves. They smart enough to come and take your dollar and do something else with it. Well, you're not smart enough to keep your dollar inside your community. Why? There's nothing in your community. You don't own nothing in your community. So outsiders have to come in your community. Why? Because insiders don't have nothing in your community. Why? You're not interested in your community. I remember when we grew up in 5th Ward, Lowndes Avenue. Man, it had everything you can imagine on Lowndes Avenue. All the stores that you can imagine. You can, whatever you want, whatever clothes you want. We had Mr. White on Benson and Lowndes. We had Mr. Franklin. We had all these stores that we actually can go in and we knew the owner. We had a store in Lockwood. I used to go in that store in Lockwood and get me a sandwich made, get me an old bag of chips and an old carton of orange juice, and sign a piece of paper on Friday. My mama come pay for it. Couldn't do that but once a week. We don't have that anymore in the community. That's what the prophet is trying to bring back. He's trying to bring back that race pride. Y'all hear what Marcus say, up, up, you mighty race. When you say something like that around brother, you say, up, up, you mighty race, and it's a bunch of brothers, they start looking around, trying to see who you talking to. Marcus Garvey is talking to you.
That's right. That's right.
He's a Jamaican-born Moor. Marcus Garvey is a Jamaican-born Moor, and he knew it. But just like John was to Jesus, he had to do his part.
That's right.
The prophet put the icing on the cake. Me and you say, we don't like chocolate cake. So the cake went bad.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. I love it. I don't like chocolate cake like that. I love the prophet though.
That's right. So Grand Sheik, my question, my thing is, not my question, but to summarize, we talked about Trump and what he's doing. We talked about all of these dates and what they've done. How do the Moorish Americans respond, or how do they act in regards to this? Where do they go? What's the next step for the Moorish American in understanding what Trump done and doing, and all these dates, the Constitution, the amendments, the Bill of Rights, the Emancipation, the Dred Scott said, civil rights, voting rights. Where does the Moorish American?
When we fit into it all, if we saying Moorish American, we're talking about those Moors that follow the prophet Noble Drew Ali. We're talking about those Moors that's a member of the temple that the prophet left. We're talking about those Moors that follow the line of succession of the first Supreme Grand Sheik of the Moorish Scientific America, Emilia, because you have a lot of brothers and sisters who say that they're Moorish Americans, and I don't have no authority to say that they're not, but the prophet says they're not Moors but traitors, because in order for us to accomplish anything over here in America as Moorish American, we gotta unify. I mean, we only have one Supreme Grand Sheik. His name is Emmanuel Braswell Bay. I mean, whether you like him or not, I just happen to love the brother, you know. But he's the Supreme Grand Sheik. That's just how it is. Why? Because he's in that line of succession. So if you have another brother or sister saying that they the Supreme Grand Sheik, then they're in violation of the prophet's law. You know, that's what the prophet himself appointed brother Emilia, and the prophet set it up how it's supposed to go. And the brother Emmanuel Braswell Bay bought it full circle. It ain't only Emmanuel Braswell Bay. Now, it's on me and you to get it right, to get it together. He did his job. He's doing his job. And I expect Emmanuel Braswell Bay to do his job, and he expects Russell Hill to do his job. I have a responsibility, and every brother and sister here that says they are Moorish American, you have a responsibility, not just to align the prophet, but to all people. You have a responsibility to your people, and if you don't uphold your responsibility, you're a traitor to the cause of uplifting your own people, and just as much catch you. And Lord, you know that God, if you just give me the power to be the one to hand out this justice, just for 24 hours, Father. Just for 24 hours. Because as a people, man, you really don't. Moors, I've been in following this prophet for 35 years. And that's a long time to be following somebody and other brothers and sisters come into this divine and national movement and have their own ideas about stuff, but they came in here. I can't understand me joining the Moorish Scientific America and having my own thoughts about how things should go. I mean, I should have probably stayed on the outside. That's the problem with us. You know, that's why we can't unify, because everybody wants to be the Grand Sheik. The prophet says it'll work for all.
That's right.
I ain't gotta be the Grand Sheik to vacuum the floor. I just have to be a Moor that can get in the building to do the job. We're not gonna make any progress. I mean, we're gonna start being recognized by the government in which we live, because the prophet said the time is now. It's the unification thing that eventually, according to the prophet, they'll snub all them brothers and sisters out. They'll either come in or stop wearing their turbans and fez and return to the state where the prophet found them. Why? Because he found me in a particular state, and if I don't like what he's doing and how he's doing it, and he's saying, you know, if you lose confidence, not a prophet, give your card and button, see if wearing your turban and fez and return to the state why the prophet found you. If I give up, more, I ain't wearing the fez no more. You know, I mean, I might try to ease out here with my nationality card, but I'm sure Russell Bell, you gonna take it from me. So I ain't gonna fight y'all.
That's right.
I gotta let it somewhere.
That's right. That's right. It's love. It's love.
So, somebody from the audience had a question. They wanted to know, how do we get back home?
We home, brothers and sisters. We home. Yeah, we just have to follow the divine instruction of the noble prophet. I'm home. I made it. You know that old song, Warren Sapp, never would have made it without Drew.
That's right.
Now, never would have made it without Drew. I am home, you are home, there's no deporting you.
So speaking of deporting these African Americans, how will we help them understand this Africa map? Because we know the true Africa, we're here. We're standing in the true original Africa. And with people saying, oh, I'm going back to Africa, and they have all of this Egyptian stuff that they think is African. How do you reach, or how would you have a conversation with that group of people when they're sincere in wanting to be home, just not clear on where home is?
What home is, I mean, it's clear. I mean, we didn't originate in Africa, first of all. That ain't what me and you originated at. Me and you originated in the Holy Land, what they call the Middle East right now. That's what we originated at. Joshua, I think Joshua is he's a Judean or something like that. They had some type of, when we call it a holy war, I'm just gonna call it a holy war. I'm not 100% what kind of war it was. But, and they ran the Hittites, the Moabites, the Canaanites. Joshua ran us out the land. Now, remember, when he ran you out the land, that's how things changed. We went into Egypt. There's no Africa. Now, there's no Africa at this time. We went into Egypt and received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt. Old man Cush, old man Ham, we received permission from them to settle and inhabit. Listen to what that word is. To settle and inhabit. So when you inhabit something, that means what?
It's yours.
It's yours. Now, because people thinking that Africa, Egypt is a part of Africa. No. Africa is a part of Egypt. Egypt is not a part of Africa. Egypt is all on its own. Then there's Africa. So Africa is sitting on the continent of Egypt. So now, at this one great big landmass, is broke. And us brothers and sisters that was on this, what you call Africa, which the true and divine name is called Amexem. The land broke. That's why me and you in America. Once the land breaks, now y'all heard of the Moroccan Empire. This land was a part of the Moroccan Empire. When it broke and the people settled over here, y'all know what they call this land? America. That's what this land was called. It was called America before any Europeans ever set foot on it. And the reason why they still use the name America, because we had an agreement with them. You can unite your states, but they gotta be of America.
Good stuff.
So while you are thinking that
Good stuff.
this is something brand new, no. The United States is brand new. America has always been here. And America was named by Moors. Y'all ever see them commercials, or you ever look in a book and you see George Washington on this boat and walking around? You notice he always had some brothers with him, with turbans on. You know slaves didn't wear turbans, right? Those was Moors, brothers and sisters. Those was your brothers and sisters over here with General George Washington. Those Moors helped General George Washington them win this thing. Moors, this isn't what we are doing, what we are talking about. None of this stuff is contemplated. It's all in history. When I say history, I'm not saying his story. I'm saying this is in history. When you check citizenship, when you check all these things, you find out you ain't no citizen. Not in the sense of the word of what a true citizen is. You're not a citizen. what was it, if you was a citizen, just think about this. If you was a citizen when they wrote the Constitution, why do they need amendment?
That's right.
If you was a citizen when they wrote the Constitution, why do you need the Emancipation Proclamation?
Well,
If you was a citizen when they wrote the Constitution, Dred Scott don't have to go to the courts to sue for his freedom. If you was a citizen in 1965, there would be no Voting Rights Act. If you was a citizen and when they wrote the Constitution, there would be no civil rights of 1866 or 1964. If you was a citizen. See, when you have citizenship over here, you ever seen Europeans fighting for voting? It's just automatic. Why is it automatic? Because they say we, not you. They say us, not you. See, there's a separation. And that separation comes legally by taking your nationality away from you in 1774 and calling you Negro, blacks, and colors. See, in the beginning, that wasn't acceptable to you. So I'm going to give you an example how they got away with it. You know, they got a show called How to Get Away with Murder. This is how they got away with murder. They used to call you Moor. Hey, Moors. Hey, Moors. Hey, Moors. Hey, Moors. Hey. Then they start calling you Blackamoor. The first time I called you Blackamoor, you're like, hey, that ain't my name. But I kept calling you that. This is an experiment. I heard the Tuskegee experiment. This is an experiment. That's what they do. We get honest to the European. Well, love you, European man. Because you learn how to turn a people from something into nothing. And they kept calling you Blackamoor. You got so tired of them calling you a Blackamoor that you just say whatever. I ain't even saying nothing to them no more. Then all of a sudden they quit calling you a Blackamoor and they just start saying, what's up, black? Now they calling all us black. They done dropped the Moor. Now they calling you black. Nationality gone. Divine creed gone. Or your ties to God is gone. Now guess who your God is? He who was capable of taking your nationality. Don't think that, y'all want Great Britain, France, Spain. All of them played a part in it. Do the history. Yeah. You think the Portuguese, all these people, man, look here, this was a collective effort.
That's right.
To destroy your mental being and to make you think lesser of yourself. And you think, not only do you think less of yourself, you think less of your people. You got sisters calling themselves disrespectful names and brothers calling each other disrespectful names. And you say, well, that's fly. Ain't nothing fly about disrespect.
So back to the Constitution and things, when we were talking about the Dred Scott and the free state and the non-free state, we can't talk about that and not talk about the Missouri Compromise. Because that's where you're gonna get your understanding of the free state and the slave state. Just a little seed for the people that's interested in finding out the truth and how Trump is able to make the executive orders and how he's not breaking any laws because they think that he's breaking laws when it comes to how he's moving in accordance to the people.
Y'all know that we live in a republic, not Republicans, not Democrats. We live in a republic. That's the form of government. It's a republic. Now, this is how really good these people are of, like David Copperfield, how creating an illusion that's believable. The republic form of government got 13 colonies. That's what they were calling themselves first. 13 colonies. And when they decided to take these 13 colonies and make them something else, these people over here, they actually wanted to get rid of the slavery thing, but they saying we can do better. Because the people from down south, y'all ever been to Alabama? What you call people from Alabama? You call them Bama's because you think they slow. You call people from Mississippi certain names because you think they slow. Because in the South, it was that way. But in the North, they was industrializing things. They was making things better and bigger, and they was moving, and they was doing certain things. And they like, man, we can take the whole country in that direction. The South said, no, you can't. See, there was a president in the South. I think Adams might have been the first president. I ain't sure. Y'all can check it out. But they had a president in the Confederacy, and they had a president up here. Because before this was the United States, this was the Continental Congress. It was something else up here. And so these people up here thinking about ways to industrialize and make things better and move things along. They ain't thinking about farming and cows and picking cotton, and they ain't thinking about that stuff. And we're going to industrialize this thing. These people in the South saying, no, we not. No, we not. So these people went on and created what you call today the United States of America. They put these 13 colonies became the 13 states. And these are the original 13 states. Everybody else is an add-on. Texas is an add-on. All these other people, they add-ons. We allow for you to join the Union. Why? Because the Union started moving. But the South wasn't going for it. Great Britain wasn't going for it. So we got to fight. So they fought and got their independence. Then they fought the Confederacy and won. And when they won, now y'all got to do what we say. And they brought them all together and became a nation. But guess what? Even when you fought in their wars, you still wasn't a citizen. In the true form of the word citizen. You still wasn't. No matter what you did, the law didn't allow for you in because you was calling yourself Negro, Blacks, and Colors. So the Constitution don't apply to Negro, Blacks, and Colors. And they're going to tell you that the 14th Amendment says all persons are born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Jurisdiction thereof? The language. Are citizens of the United States wherein they reside. Are citizens of the United States and of the United States wherein they reside. Words, legal terms. Right. You don't understand that. So when they say the United States twice, they're talking about two different things. Right. See, but you say, can they repeat themselves? Now, that's not a repeated thing. This 14th Amendment was for the purpose of making black people citizens of the U.S. and the states where they reside. That's what it was intended for. So the 14th Amendment is by no means worth anything to Moors or to Moorish Americans. It's just, we can get all the constitutions and scratch it out that you're a Moor. Because they don't apply to you in that manner.
So I took this Black History class, and there's this, so you can't, first of all, you can't ask any questions about anything before 1492. So you can't ask any questions, but I was able to find out and ask about, there was a point in time where the Sultan came over here, right? And I'm thinking about what he was saying about how they started off as Moors and then black Moors and then black. So the Sultan came over here, and this is in history. The Sultan came over here with about 200 ships, and he came looking for the Moors. But at this time, the servitude and the slavery had been so bad that when they came to ask where the people at, when they went back, they told the Sultan, I think our people disappeared, is what was said, is what's said in the history books. And the way that I tell it is that they didn't disappear, they became black. My grand sheik always tell us, blacks were made in America. And that's absolutely true, because they came for those Moors. They came to check on us. They came to check on our people, and our people was like, no, I'm a black man. No, Mr. Johnson is my master. So they had to go back to him and say, well, it ain't no Moors over there. I think our people done disappeared.
Well, and then history says that the Sultan himself came to these shores.
Right.
He came himself. He didn't go out. He sent Moors out because he had heard that there was a lot of Moors in this country and they was being mistreated. And it's said that he came over here with over 200 ships to take them brothers away from here. And the leader of this country out for him. Because you got to remember, we have a peace treaty with these people. But they did an experiment on us. You went from Moor to blacker Moor, to blacker Moor, to black. And then we begin to change the landscape of your very being. And then when somebody comes to rescue you, you know, all those people who was like your Kunta Kintes, I'm just using this name as a reference, was no longer here. And as a parent, and you having sons, you're making sure your sons and daughters don't say nothing wrong, don't do nothing wrong, because you know the type of people that you're dealing with. You know that these people will kill you just for the sake of killing you. And so when he came over here, there was no Moors here. It was only Negroes, blacks, and colors.
Right.
And he had the freedom, because if one person would have said that there was a Moor, then they was taking him. Because he had that authority over here. He came with empty ships. He left with empty ships. Because they had changed the landscape of America to everybody that looked like me and you was calling ourselves black. Even now, I mean, you hear your commentators, you hear brothers and sisters on the news, you hear brothers and sisters, all they screaming is this black stuff. And I don't understand how is it that, and then you hear people saying, I heard Smokey Robinson, I was listening to Smokey Robinson, and he was saying it, but I guess he didn't really get it. He was saying that how we went from colors to Negroes to blacks, and he was saying it, but I guess he was saying it trying to understand how do we change so consistently from Negroes to blacks to colors to African American, while the Italian comes over here and he's still an Italian. You know, how the Arab comes over and he's still Arab, how the Chinese and the Japanese, no matter how many years down the road, he's still a Chinese. His nationality never changes. And so when you look at nationality, our nationality has never changed, because Negro, black, and color is not a nationality. Being a Negro, black, and color is not even a people.
Right.
Being a Negro, black, and color is a destructive mechanism that is utilized to stop you from unifying under the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's a holdback. Why? Because Negroes don't trust blacks, and blacks don't trust colors, and colors don't trust African Americans. And guess who those people are? They are all the same people. But since I am identifying as a black man and you're identifying as an African American, we two different people. How we two different people from the same womb?
So at one point, I heard our assistant grad teacher, Brother Russell Bay, said one time that the Europeans are considered to be 5/5 of a man, while us, Negro, blacks, and colored, are considered as 2/5 of a man. How did that even come about to even be able to distinguish what's 5/5 and what's 3/5?
Well, I know that in the Constitution it talks about 3/5, but they can, you know, the 3/5 and the 5/5 in the Constitution. If I had a Constitution where it read it, and somebody can find it for me, where it's actually read it, the 5/5 and the 3/5, that ain't nothing, because you got Europeans. If you call yourself white, you lost. Just like if I call myself black, I'm lost. You know, what they do is, it's another mindset thing. It's another thing where I'm going to create a mindset that makes you think that you are superior when you're not. Because those who really in charge, they ain't identify themselves as white. Those who really calling the shots, they don't identify themselves as black. More, don't think for one moment that this is a European controlled society. It ain't just European controlled this society. There are Asiatics involved too. There's always been Asiatics.
Right.
If you go back in time, there's always been Asiatics. It used to be all Asiatics too. You start letting Greece into the picture. You start letting China, and you start letting other people into the picture. It's always been an Asiatic thing. Why? Because when you look at Negro, blacks, and color, y'all some of the most compassionate peoples on the planet.
That's right.
It's easy to hate compassion, man. It's easy to dislike love. And that comes simple. Why? Because you don't want me to love. You prefer for me to be hateful. And that's the way that we move. And in this thing, it says, in the 14th Amendment, we notice two distinct terms that are very important. The first being citizen is not a proper noun and subject to the jurisdiction there, where jurisdiction is meant therein. United States jurisdiction, of course, we know that the jurisdiction of the United States is very limited. It is. Even though they ain't control, the jurisdiction is very limited. Because you can't just come into the state unless there's a problem in the state. Now, everybody is a member of the United States, but as long as the state is doing what they're supposed to do, there's nothing that I can do in the federal government. Now, once the state is not doing what it's supposed to do, now I can step in with my FBI and my DEA. I can step in because you're not doing your job. Because once we step in, then the state, you ain't running it no more. So that's why the governor has what you call the National Guard. Because if things are so bad, he sends in his National Guard. When he sends in the National Guard, he can do martial law on you. But if he do it in such a manner that the United States say, oh no, then they send in, the first person they send in is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It used to be called something else before the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Now, it say also the term United States used there is single and not plural. Exclusive federal jurisdiction does not include exclusive union state jurisdiction. Washington, D.C. is a whole other thing. It's not a state. Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's federal. Everything in D.C. is federal. It's like Guam. It's federal. So while you think it's a state, you gotta remember that first you gotta find out, why did they move from Philadelphia? That's where Independence Hall is at. That's where the Liberty Bell, they still sit across the street from each other. I've been there. Why did they move from Philadelphia? Because they had to create something greater. Okay, it says in the U.S. Constitution, and be real careful when they saying USA, when they saying United States, and when they saying United States of America, because most times they talk about three different things, or sometimes they try to make it two things. It says the U.S. Constitution, the 3/5 compromise is part of Article 1. This is what it says, it's a 3/5 compromise. Representative and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states which may be included, because now we're talking about taxes, within the union, according to their representative numbers, which shall be determined by adding to the whole number of free persons, including those bound to service for a term of years, and excluding Indians, not taxed, 3/5 of all other persons. So they saying it's some other persons. Listen, I'm gonna read it again, because this makes so much sense. In the U.S. Constitution, the 3/5 compromise is part of Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. Representative and direct taxes shall be apportioned among the several states, so everybody has to pay their taxes, which may be included within this union. Remember when the Constitution was written, it wasn't no Texas, it wasn't none of this other stuff. according to their respective numbers, which shall be determined by adding a whole number of free persons. We adding a whole number of free persons, include those bound to service. Now, what they saying about the 3/5 seal, they saying that this is what they say, and this is what I've been hearing over the years, that it takes me, the brother, and the brother to make one person. That's how they count us. Instead of them saying it's 3 of y'all, they saying 1, 2, 3 equals 1. 1, 2, 3 equals 2. 1, 2, 3 equals 3. They saying that because you're not considered a whole person, because you're not considered humans. So in other words, they saying, and I ain't calling nobody this, they saying that it takes 3 dogs to make a dog. That's what they saying. They're saying it takes 3 black people to make a person. That's the language. All other persons. Takes 3 of you all, that's all other persons. It takes 3 of you all to make one. And that's how we taxing you. The actual enumeration shall be made within 3 years after the first meeting of the Congress of the United States, and were in every subsequent term of 10 years, in such manner as they shall be by law direct. It's
Census.
boy, it's the law. I mean, it's written, and since it's written, we gotta follow it. That's the way it is. Ain't no what I. If it don't apply to you, that means that you are not a citizen. And if it does apply to you, it means that you fall up under that category where it takes 3 of y'all to make. How does it take 3 men to make 1 man? I mean, that might work for tax purposes where, okay, instead of all 3 of them having to pay tax, we all 3 get together and pay at one time. And then you think that's a come up, like welfare. You think welfare is a come up.
No.
How?
It's gonna make you lazy. So Gracie, let me say this about this 3/5 and this 5/5. Now, what has been said is that during the census, when they count these census, they was making 3 of us to make 1. So that was saying that like this is how it's outnumbering us in the census. Because if it took 3 of me to make 1 of them, for every 1 of them, it takes 6 of us.
Well, you know, Europeans have never been the majority. They have never been the majority. But they control the numbers.
Right.
Yeah, you ain't controlling those census. You ain't the head of the census bureau. It's the European head of the census bureau. You're not controlling the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It's the Europeans that's controlling it. You're not controlling the House or the Senate. Europeans are controlling it. And so since we're controlling everything we put out, you have to go along with it. Why? Well, you saying because the government said it. The government ain't saying nothing. It's the people that got the job in the government that's saying it. Government ain't saying none of that stuff to us. It's the people, and you know that the government is just like the Moorish Science Temple of America, Temple number 35. This is a building. What makes it a temple? The people. You can call it what you want. As long as no people are participating or in here or nothing, it's just a building. Well, that's the Moorish Science Temple of America. No, it ain't. Because the Moorish Science Temple of America has members.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Moorish Science, not the building, not the name, the people.
So,
And that's how the government, the governmental workers are allowed to get away with certain things. Why? Because you ignorant. You don't know no better. When Mike Congress said, that's like telling me when Pastor said, who is Pastor?
that's right.
You know, wife come home and say, when Pastor said, man, listen here, you better go and live with Pastor. And that's what Pastor said. Don't come here telling me what Pastor said.
That's right.
The prophet said, man don't need no middleman or no priest to intercede.
That's right.
So if Pastor told you that and you believe it, you need to change your address. You had something?
Yeah, from my investigation on that census demonstration, that was created because When the Constitution was put in place, you know, like you say, we were in bondage, so it wasn't talking to us. So in order for them to count the slaves, he said that's what made them seem like they had all these
That's right.
people and they taxed it. So we got property and we pay property tax, right? And so at that time, these Negro, blacks, and coloreds were considered property. They were being taxed on that property. And so what was being done was, I have a whole bunch of slaves and Joe over here don't have that many. So I'm getting a bigger cut than you. So what we gonna do is to make it even for everybody, so that when it's time to vote, I'm gonna take three of your slaves and count them as one.
That's right.
That's how that 3/5 of a person comes into play in the Constitution. It has everything to do with slavery. So when the census came about, I gotta keep up with my property.
That's right.
I gotta know how many slaves that Uncle Johnson got over there, and then I need to know how many is over here at Mr. Gilmore's place, and then I need to know how many is over around the way at this place. So that's the purpose of the census, because they need to know, and anybody who's done any research, the census go all the way back to the early 1700s. One thing about Europeans, they kept records of everything. Now, can you get access to everything? Yes and no. It depends on the questions that you ask. The prophet said, go to those who know. And you'll get the answers that you need. But that's a real thing. Until this day, that's why they have the voting rights of 1965. Till this day, that is still in play. They still count Negro, blacks, and coloreds. 3 of us, well, 3 of them, equals 1 person.
We gotta wrap it up. How to proclaim your nationality? That's the last one.
Well, there's but one way as a Negro, black, and colored to proclaim your nationality. That's through the Moorish National Divine Movement. There's no other way. Nigeria ain't accepted, you know, and you don't want to have to go somewhere to get your nationality when a prophet came to America to provide you with your nationality. Not just provide you with a nationality, but he ties you back into the family of nations. He don't just tie you back into the family of nations, he ties you back to your ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. Therefore, you're no longer worshiping. You know, the prophet Obadiah, he said that's why we have to return to church and Christianity, because we Muslims. We are today, without a doubt, our contradiction what our ancient forefathers were. Our ancient forefathers were not Negro, blacks, and colors. Our ancient forefathers were not African American. They were not niggers or all these other names. Our ancient forefathers was men, upright, independent, and fearless. Our ancient forefathers were these people who are instrumental in civilization. You know, Negro, blacks, and colors, they've made you a destructive mechanism. Everything that pertains to Negro, blacks, and colors, they say is bad. You know, even when people are coming from this country, they paint a picture of you. You know, they show gang activity. They don't tell you why the vice laws were started, or why the gangster disciple was started, or why the Bloods and the Crips was started, or why the Black Panther Party was started. They don't tell you why they started these organizations. They criminalized these organizations and made you a criminal. Why? Because you was a Negro, black, and a color.
That's right.
The prophet saying no more. No more. No more. It's time for you to stand up, take your place in the affairs of men, proclaim your nationality. You have a right to a nationality, and then you may avoid deportation.
All right.
That's right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Praise God.